All right, hello everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We're going to get started here, and welcome to our safety committee meeting. So today we've got a few things going on. Webinar goes, your controls are muted, so you don't need to worry about that. There is a chat box that you can fill in. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and use that chat box there. And there's also a Q&A box that you can use as well. So thanks for joining us here. We do have some upcoming events here at the Trust. This week we're going to have our OSHA HAZWOPER training, which is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. It's a 3-day training for those that work with hazardous materials. On March 16th at 10 o'clock, we'll have another webinar. This is a officer-involved shootings webinar where we'll have an expert come in and talk about the best practices of how to handle those types of situations. And again, we're going to have our Trust Winter Leadership Conference. That's on March 17th here at the Trust. And as a reminder, those seats are filling up pretty fast. So if you'd like to take part in that, definitely get signed up for those. Other webinars coming up, March 30th, we've got another loss prevention webinar. This is on FMLA. And as usual, next month we'll have our monthly safety moment webinars and our loss prevention webinars at 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock on April 4th next month. So feel free to join in for those. Some upcoming events, and if you happen to miss those, if you do sign up for them, you can go to our website and find those on the website under webinars under the member services tab. You can go and review the webinars that we've done previously there. So we encourage you to do those. And so today we're going to get started. We're going to talk about safety committees, and again, we're going to hold a live meeting here. Doug, make sure you get the record button. Good. So we're going to talk about safety committees and of what we do here at the Trust as far as some of the things we run through and some of the things we talk about. But we encourage you to think about, what's best for your organization, what might make it more effective in preventing accidents and reviewing incidents and making it work. And really, you can think about the importance of a meeting. You can meet for the sake of meeting, or you can meet and make something happen. And we encourage you to make it useful, make it valuable, and find what works for you, for your organization. As far as safety committees go, this is something that's very important to our Trust Accountability Program. Those that are involved in that and those that want to be a part of it, it's one of those requirements where you need to have consecutive safety committee meetings on a monthly basis. And so we encourage you to get started with that now at the first of the year. If you're not doing those, make sure that you're getting those scheduled out and going forward on things for your safety committees there. One thing about safety committees is you want to keep them simple and effective. They don't need to be longer than they need to be, but they need to be as well. So with that, welcome to our meeting. We're going to get started, and we'll go through some of the things here. This is our team. I'd like to introduce who we have here with us today. On my left, which would be your right side, that's Darren Palmer. And on my right, which would be your left, is Nathan Wolf. And they're also part of the safety committee here. Steve Hansen is our executive member of the committee. He's the CEO of the Trust. And so the four of us make up the entire team of the safety committee here. And so we'll introduce them there. As far as our agenda goes, I'll show you an example. But again, you want this to be simple and to the point, something that's easy to follow. Hit the high points, the things that really need to be talked about, and then you can take actions from there and go forward with your committee. Put up ahead of time, and we identify the things that we're going to talk about. And so with that, we'll go through each of these different sections and just kind of give you an example of the things that we do here. So the first thing we start is the safety moment. And this is something where it's kind of an icebreaker for the meeting. It's where everybody comes together and you talk about something that's relevant, kind of gets your mind started at thinking about the importance of safety and things that you might do. And this is something that we rotate through the group. So each month, each one of us will go through and do these things. And you can talk through, you know, different things that people observe, whether it's on the job or whether it's related or not, or other things outside, something that they learn at home that they can bring here that applies to everybody. And that's what we want to learn from. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to start off with our safety moment, which is Nathan. So I'll hand it over to Nathan here for the safety moment.
Moment is just kind of thinking of, you know, what I deal with on a daily basis and things like that. The thing I'm going to talk about today is reporting on any accidents you might see. And I don't mean an accident like a big car crash or anything like that, but you know, it's winter time right now. The sidewalks can be slippery. If you notice when you're walking into work that you know, you slip and almost fall, you know, it's not going to do anyone any good if you don't, you know, tell the building manager or whoever's in charge of salting the sidewalks to report those things. And also this morning with it, it kind of snowed here last night and kind of frosted over my car. And you know, I was about to pull out of the driveway, and I just noticed that all my windows were fogged up and I couldn't really see. And so I guess just being aware of things around you to clear those things up, to, you know, they're easy as, you know, just wiping down a window. You know, it's safe for where you're traveling and things like that. So.
Okay, good job. Thanks, Nathan, for that. It's a good reminder. You know, just being aware, like you said, always being aware of the things that are going on around you. And so, just good to have that. So, anyway, we're going to keep going. The next part of this presentation. As far as minutes go, one of the next things that we do is we review what's been done before, the things that we've talked about, and then we like to follow up on those things and follow up on the assignments and different action items and things that we've done before. So here's an example. This is something you can do, is just go back through and talk about the things that you've done and follow up on it. So here are our minutes from the last month. Last month in attendance, we had 3 of us here. We had Brent, Darren, and Nathan, and myself, Brent. Get those in the right order there. And so that's who was here last time. And we had a safety moment, which Darren gave us last time, which was on. Parked their truck in the night, and their truck was broken into and had some things taken out of their truck after they broke in the window. And so we talked about the importance of, you know, just making sure that your valuables aren't left inside in your trucks, making sure that they're taken in the house overnight, and make sure that your doors are locked so that people can't steal those things. So that's one of the things that we reviewed. We also reviewed a backing incident. We had a truck that was backing up, ended up backing into something and damaging the bumper. So what we do is we talk about those. We talk about best practices, identify root causes and things that might lead to avoiding those types of things. And then we had a near miss that was reported as well. We had an employee driving home on a highway on I-15 headed north after work, and for some reason traffic came to a really fast stop. And what happened is cars all around him were stopping really fast, and he had to swerve and get out of the way. So we talked about best practices and things that we can do to avoid those types of situations. So those are things we talked about last month. Other things we talked about, we welcome Nathan to the safety committee. He's new to the committee. He replaced Susie this last time, and we discussed the role of committee members as far as, you know, what we do in the committee, how to get involved, and things to do there. We talked about our emergency alert system, talked about the need to prepare staff for emergencies, and that we would do this at our next staff meeting, and then talking about some of the details of what we would talk about there, possibly utility shut-off locations, emergency equipment locations, and scenarios of what to do and where to go. So those are things we talked about there. Piling up in handicap parking areas. So we followed up on that to make sure that the snow was removed out of there and kept those parking areas clear. We've had an ongoing discussion lately about staff training as far as identifying dates that we'll talk about for defensive driving, first aid, CPR, and harassment discrimination. So we'll follow up on that and find when the best time is to get our staff this training. And then we also talked about the Great Shakeout, which is the earthquake preparedness activity on April 21st. And we talked about reminding staff for those upcoming meetings. So Nathan and Darren, that's kind of the idea of what we talked about last time. We'll go forward now and talk through what we need to do. So here's another thing about safety committees that we want to look at. What types of incidents are we seeing? What are we having go on? Are there vehicle accidents? Are there OSHA recordable injuries? Are there first aid incidents? And you want to compare those things and look at how are we doing this year versus previous years? Are we doing better? Are we on track, or is there something that we want to do to improve on? And so as a committee, we focus on certain metrics that are important to us. And again, your organization may have different things that you're looking for. It may apply differently, and we encourage you to look at it. So we can look at these now. This is just an example of what we put on our agenda. It's a sample agenda for a safety committee. So it's important to look at those things. And when you do find something, when we do have an incident of some type, whether it's a near miss or injury of some type, you want to get to the root cause. And so you take time to talk about it, work through it, and identify the things that you can do to prevent those things from happening. And a big part of that is just having accountability. When you do get to that root cause, you find out there's no reason why it's happening. Find some things that you can do to put things into place and assign out some actions for prevention. So that's what incident investigations are, and definitely part of the committee there. So we're going to go back to our committee now. Is OSHA recordable injuries. And looking at this year, for 2016, we haven't had any, which is really good. Very fortunate there. As far as lost time injuries, we haven't had any either. No restricted or light duty days away from work, no first aid injuries reported. So we're off to a really good start for 2016. We have had one motor vehicle accident where we talked about that backing accident with the truck, and we did have that one near miss report on the highway. So those are things we want to keep an eye on and watch for. And then another thing I thought we would track for our committee here is safety and risk assessments. This is something that we'll be scheduling out soon. We do these here at the Trust regularly throughout the year. We've done some in the building inside, we've done them outside, and we've also other things that you know about.
Not at the moment. I can't think of anything since the last time we met. So
yeah, we just had our meeting just a couple of weeks ago, so it wasn't very long ago, and so there's not a lot of time in between there. But Darren, anything?
no, nothing to report today.
Okay, that's a good thing in ways, and if there is something, we'll certainly follow up on it. So there's that. So I talked about, we're going to do an audit here of our facility. We talked about that last time. So we'll be scheduling that out. But it's important to follow up on those things. When you do, take some time as a committee to walk around. And report on them. So we found some things that are effective here at the Trust. When we do that, we we make those rounds and we all go together and we find some things, and we want to look at some of those things now. So this is a picture of the back of our property where we come in as employees. We come in through the back door there, and previously in the year we had some snow and ice building up in this corner of the parking lot. And so as a committee, it was suggested, I think it was Darren's idea actually, that we talked about making sure that this area is kept clear. As far as snow removal, as far as putting the salt out there and not having ice and things to slip on. And so this is something that we did. We followed up on that. We talked to the people that maintain that, and it's now been taken care of. And as you can see in the picture, it's really well maintained. We've got a nice clear sidewalk there. And you know, just something simple like that can make a big difference in following up on things. So there's one example. Here's another. We did a walkthrough. This was a couple months ago. We went into one of the rooms in our building and saw this big crack in the window. And it's kind of a room that is sent it off to the individual that manages our property here. And just by doing that walk around, we were able to find a crack in the window, which is a good thing to find. So as you can see, just by going around, you'll find things. Other things we do as a committee is we can talk to the employees. We were going through each of the offices a few months ago and talking to one employee here. He told us that there used to be a drawer here on his desk, but as he had been working there, after it had been removed, he found that the little bar that holds the drawer on would sometimes catch on his leg as he would turn and come out of the desk. And so we followed up on that to make sure that rail there on the side of the drawer got put back in and removed as needed to remove that hazard from there. So just as a committee going around and talking about things, you can take care of things like that. Okay. So here's an example of what we do. Those of you that know that we do SARS, you've seen how we do the MyTrust app. And so we take pictures as we come around, we look at things, and this is an example of one of those things that we did where we found a fire extinguisher that needed its annual inspection. And so we encourage you, if you're interested in that, when we do that, there is an app available. We can have it on a web base for you, and it's actually changed its name. Those of you that know it as MyTrust, it is now called the Onus 360 app. It's the same program, works the same, just has a new name to it. And so we use this as we go around as well. And you can do any type of reporting when you go out as a committee, but that's just an example of what you can do there. So use the app. Perhaps in your safety committee, you might want to discuss policies and procedures. Maybe there's different programs or different things that you have in your work area that might pertain to the work that you do, and so we encourage you to do that as a committee as well. So we're going to go back to our meeting now. We're going to follow up on, here's some things that I wrote down that we're going to talk about today. As far as discussion topics go, at the last meeting, guys, we talked about preparing staff for emergencies, and we talked about doing this at our next staff meeting. And so I wrote down kind of 3 areas of things that maybe we want to take care of and look at, and I thought maybe each one of us 3 could choose one of these today that you guys want to talk about at the staff meeting. And so I'll let you guys go ahead and choose, but I'll read through these. About that. And the next one would be the utility shutoff locations. Nathan had a really good idea about that, about talking about those and identifying those. And so we can have one of us identify those in the building, you know, and talk about that with staff so everybody knows what to do with the utility shutoffs.
I can just go ahead and take that one.
You want to do that one? Sure. Okay. So Nathan, you got that one for utility shutoffs. The last one would be the emergency equipment locations. One of us can go around and find out where the fire alarm pole is, where the fire extinguishers are, first aid kits, AED, and all those types of things, so we can tell staff on the emergency equipment. So
I'll take item C, Brent.
Darren, you want to see? Okay, sounds good. So I'll talk to Steve. You know, when he sends out that reminder for our staff meeting, I'll get with him, make sure we can get just a little bit of time, and we can each take some time and go over those things there. I think it's good. I think it's good that we, you know, cover those things. It's important for staff to know what to do and where to go. So the next thing I have on here, you know, being that we just had a meeting a couple weeks ago, Since then, has there been any other risks or hazards or potential accidents, anything that you guys think we might need to cover in this meeting?
Can't think of anything.
Not today.
Okay. Again, it's probably driving is our biggest hazard that we talk about. Driving on the roadways, driving, long distances across the state. So I think, keep that in our forefront of things to watch for. And definitely the defensive driving is something we want to watch for and do. So if you guys know of anything else, just let us know. As far as action items go, some things that we can follow up on. We need to notify the trust staff about what we've been doing here as a committee, some of the discussions that we've had, maybe talk about upcoming training incidents. That newsletter that you send out. And so I'll take care of that this time. We'll send one of those out to staff and make sure everybody knows kind of what we're doing and, kind of the direction that we're heading as a committee. So we can do that. We talked about the SAR, the risk assessment for the building. I'll schedule that out and sometime we can go around. Probably up for doing the inside of the building. It's been a little while since we've done that one, so we'll go around the inside. And then April, we've got the Great Shakeout. I think just a simple reminder on that, kind of like we talked about. So I know, Darren, you were kind of looking at that. Maybe we
It
want to
seemed
hold
like
off.
we were waiting until late summer to do that.
Yeah, so we can find a good time when it slows down where we can get everybody in. So if you want to kind of help with that one, you can do that.
Good.
So that's kind of a summary of what I had. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add to the meeting here? So this is just kind of where we do our open forum. We go around, as you can see, we've gone through our discussion topics. We've gone through our action items. We talked about things, and then we're going to follow up on these action items and make sure they get done. But we like to close out the meeting with just an open forum, give everybody the chance to come through, and if there's anything that stands out, we talk about that. And so our next meeting, our next safety committee meeting is going to be on April 8th April 8th in 2016. So we'll get that on the calendar and schedule out. So that kind of is a summary. As far as finishing up your safety committee meetings, it's important to stick to a schedule. We try to do this on a monthly basis. A lot of us are traveling around the state, and we're gone to conferences and trainings and things like that. And so sometimes it's hard to pick the day, but we always try to get it on there for the calendar. That's something I would recommend for all in your organizations. Make sure you try to stick to that. Find a time that works, and maybe it's during your managers meetings or department meetings. You can get everybody together and talk through things. So find what works for you, stick to the schedule, and then just make sure that everybody gets involved, that they understand their responsibilities and know how to help the committee there. So in summary, safety committees can really work if you want to make it work. Don't just hold a meeting for the sake of having a meeting. Get together and keep a good schedule, keep it to the point, keep it simple, so that it can be effective. We talked about action items and things. As you can see, we've got some ongoing here. Those are things that we do, and always assign that out and make sure that they're going forward on those. Ultimately, with a safety committee, have fun with it. It's really for your own good. It's really to make the workplace better for everybody. It's there to keep everybody safe and healthy, and so have fun with it. Make the most out of it is what we would encourage there. So with that, that's our summary. Doug, do we have any questions or anything going on?
No, just comment.
And if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and finish up. Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Nathan. Good job on the safety moment and participation with the committee. So thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. Have a safe day out there. Bye-bye.
Deb Barton said she did get some ideas for her monthly staff meeting.
How was the record? Is the recording turned on?
We were having
Better.
Let's suck you in. The sound doesn't work because it's just like painful.
Okay, hang on, let's make sure.